Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. So in this video I want to talk to you about a maybe boring seeming topic, but it's very important, and normally the people who watch these videos are the really good investors because this is a quite important topic. So how much rocket share labs should you have, or how much of a weight in your portfolio it should have? And this is actually for any stock, but I really like Rocket Lab and I'm planning to add to Rocket Lab, so this is why I thought that we use this stock as an example. By the way, if you like this video, please make sure you subscribe, and you can also follow me on X, the same name as the channel, and you can come and say hi to me there. So lately I've been having some very interesting conversations with other creators, and I really wanted to make this video because I think that some people really have this wrong. So first of all, everybody has a different financial situation. You know, some of us have very little money, some of us have a very good income, and they have a very big portfolio. And depending on this starting point, you should handle your portfolio differently. And by the way, this channel, I don't want it to be I don't want it to be financial advice. I rather want to expose you to different kind of viewpoints, and I want to help you think around this topic so that you can make your own educated choice based on the data. So I saw this video by Alex Hormozy, which really made me think, which he said that when you're broke and you take risk, when is your life going to change? He's like, if you fail, your life is going to be the same. You're still broke. And if you win, then your life changes. But let's say that you have 100 million, okay? And now you have to risk that 100 million. When does your life change? Does your life change if you buy Rocket Lab and Rocket Lab 10x's and, or let's say doubles, and you go from 100 million to 200 million? No, your life doesn't change because it's already so much money. But when does your life change? It's when you lose that money. So depending on how big your portfolio is, your objectives on the money is different. And the reason why this is important is because sometimes on my Twitter and sometimes on my YouTube, I get these guys who are like, yeah, my portfolio is $10,000 and I have 20 different positions, and this stock went up and I'm trimming it. And I'm like, what are you doing? Or you have a 20-year-old guy who is buying dividend stocks from his first $5,000 of investment, right? When you only have $5,000, you should almost take a lot more risk so that you can get ahead in your stock market investing. And this I don't really see a lot when you have guys with, let's say, a 10 million portfolio, and then they buy out of the money call options on, and just try to risk everything. And yeah, so the one that is more common is retail investors thinking like they are some billion-dollar hedge funds and they want to trade like Warren Buffett. My uncle called me a few days ago and he said, I'm doing a course on how to invest like Warren Buffett. And I should have told him, you're being an idiot. Do you have hundreds of billions of dollars like Warren Buffett? Then you shouldn't be investing like Warren Buffett. You should be investing completely differently into something that fits your financial situation. So this is point number one. What is your starting point? And I want to give another very interesting point that many people don't think about. So let's say that your goal is to reach $1 million, or you have an X amount of money that you want to reach for retirement or whatever that is your goal is. So in this calculations, we're going to count with $1 million to keep it simple. So there's two ways to make the $1 million. So if you want to have $1 million stock portfolio, you either have to put a lot of money into your broker account every year. So you have to become a super saver. You have to increase your income, and you take very little risk, and you guaranteed will make $1 million. So for example, if you're saving $100,000 a year and at 10% interest, within 8 years, you have $1 million portfolio. And by the way, I know this is boring, but for almost all the people, it's easier to save more and increase your income, do something so that you start earning $100,000, $150,000, $200,000 a year, you mathematically have a lot higher chance of doing that than beating Warren Buffett and having a 50% per year return on the stock market, which a lot of beginners think that they will do. Yeah. Or to reach the $1 million, you need to invest very little money, but you need to have a very high return. So for example, to have a $1 million portfolio, you can also have that by saving $10,000 a year, but earning 30% on your money every year for 12 years. And then you also have $1 million. So you either send a lot of money to the stock market and then you can afford to have very little returns, or you are sending a little money to the stock market, but then you need to aim for a lot of returns. So obviously, if you're in the category of someone who can, save hundreds of thousands of dollars yearly and send them to the stock market, you can actually invest into the S&P 500 and you're going to do just fine. It will take you zero work. It will not be very exciting, but guaranteed in 20, 30 years, you will have a lot of money, probably in the tens of millions of dollars. And if you are not in that category, so let's say that you are able to save around tens of thousands of dollars a year, and realistically, if you want to have a $1 million portfolio, you need to aim for a higher return. But I wouldn't go into, buying options. And my problem is that sometimes people think that they're able to get crazy good returns. I think if you aim for 20 to 30% as a retail investor, it's very real that possibly if you do very well, you can achieve it during many, many years. But you need to follow these principles that I lay out. This is just math. This is not even really stock market investing. So there was a super investor, I forget their name, it's not important, who said that when you flip a coin, what's your chance of getting heads or tails? It's 50%, right? So if you flip the coin, the more time you flip it, the closer you get to this 50% average. So if you want to beat the 50% average, let's say you want to have some outstanding number like 60% heads or 80% heads or 80% tails, what you need to do is flip the coin less. Right? Because the more you flip it, the more average your thing will be. So this is the same with the retail investor, that the more stocks you own, the closer you're going to be to the market performance. And so the people who are retail investors and they're buying 20, 30 stocks and they're putting a lot of work into that, they are going to have a very close result to the S&P 500. And at that point, you might as well just invest into the S&P 500. So the way to beat the S&P 500 is to concentrate your position in a few stocks that you have a lot of conviction about. And if those stocks go, double or triple, then they very significantly move your portfolio, which allows you to have an outperformance. So this is also something that is very misunderstood by the retail traders. And here is something that I had a very, very good conversation with Arnie Trezzi about, a fellow Palantir investor. Really like that guy, by the way. And he said that Wall Street, so people, sometimes retail investors want to be like Wall Street and, they trim positions and, they want to hedge and, make sure that the position is never more than 5% of their overall portfolio. And I think that these are idiotic things when you have a smaller portfolio. And let me tell you why. So Wall Street, they are managing people for other people. So they have other people's money, right? And their objectives is to keep that money safe and not lose it and have a return that is slightly beating the market, right? Because that is considered safe. So if you have 20 to 30 stocks, what is your incentive to really study a stock? Really look at something like Rocket Lab or Palantir and find the asymmetry, find what other people are missing and really focus in on that stock. You have zero incentive to do that. Your incentive is to sit down, go through the balance sheet and go okay, if they lost 20 million, last quarter, then they're going to lose 20 million. The next many quarters, they will never be profitable. F this stock. We need to go to easier stocks that is less research. And this is how you get to okay, Apple. I can easily calculate Apple because they have a 17% margin and they grow 5% every year. And I just put it in the Excel and I see the number. That's your incentive, right? But as a retail investor, you can actually do hundreds of hours of due diligence. You can watch channels like this channel, you can watch channels like Arnie's channel, and you can really deep dive into stocks and actually find things that Wall Street misses because they don't put in the time and they're not incentivized to put in the time. And when you do this and you get a lot of certainty, you can really concentrate down on a few positions. So currently I have 88% Palantir. I have a cost basis of $8 and something, $8 and change on my Palantir, and I'm up close to 150% this, not this year, but since I bought Palantir, which is in 2 years, on that position. And I would like to have more positions, probably up to 10 positions, but I'm doing it one by one. So I really went into Palantir, studied Palantir, built out a position. Now I'm really into Rocket Lab. I'm building out a position. I'm hoping to build out a position in the 6 digits. And then once that is done, I will be just holding it for a very, very long time. And this is how I work. I'm not trying to be crazy and I'm not advocating that you should have one stock. I just wanted to give you the understanding of why I only have Palantir. But because I'm continuously adding to the stockbroker portfolio, I consider it that it's like a 1/10th position for me. So it's like 10% of my portfolio. But if you look at the broker account, it's currently 88% of the portfolio. Okay. So I think it's really important to understand that this is where retail really has an edge. And Tesla was a stock where retail had an edge and they front ran Wall Street. And that was a very big win for retail. Palantir was another stock that retail saw. Wall Street missed. Wall Street was dissing the stock. They said the stock at $6 was risky and you shouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. And now that the stock is $18, now it's not risky. Now it's completely investment grade. And I think completely the opposite. I think when you're very low on the valuation, like at $6, that's when the risk is out, because how much else, how much more down can it go compared to your valuation, right? And now when it's $18, all the goodies are priced in. The expectations are maxed and they miss a little bit and then the price is going to drop. Luckily, I don't think Palantir is going to miss, but I just thought this was important for you to understand. So back to the question of the title of the video. So how big should your position be? So this is up to you. Again, a few viewpoints. So for example, if your position in Rocket Lab, I think, let's begin like this. I think Rocket Lab can easily 10x in the next 10 years. And in the next, 15 years, it can maybe even 100x. So if they find a good space infrastructure project that is very viable, I can totally see their valuation going to $150, $200 billion, and they're currently at $2 billion, okay? Zero guarantees, right? But the reason why I'm saying this is because if you put 1% of your portfolio and the stock 10x's, and how many 10x's are you going to catch in your life? It's very, very rare that an investor catches a 10-bagger, okay? So if 1% of your portfolio is in it, your overall portfolio is going to go 10% up when the stock 10x's, right? And to me, that's a total wasted opportunity. Maybe when you hear all this data, for you it makes sense. To me, it doesn't make sense. The way I think about it is, currently I have this portfolio together with my dad, and a lot of the goal of the portfolio is to help him handle his retirement, right? And if we build this position into a over $100,000 position and Rocket Lab 10x's, that basically solves his whole pension question, right? And if it 100x's, it solves my pension question also. And this is very important to me, that we have the chance, like whenever we make a move, the move really has the chance to being life-changing, And so you need to decide what is that amount to you, what is that, risk tolerance for you. Maybe your number is a lot bigger, maybe your number is a lot smaller, but if you are following these retail principles and you're going to really focus down on a few positions, then make sure that the amounts that you put in them go in your head and say like, okay, if I put $5,000 in it and it 10x's, and it's very seldom that you catch a 10 bagger as an investor, okay? Hopefully you will catch some, but it's very, very rare. So if you put $5,000 in it and it becomes $50,000, was that worth all the due diligence, all the work that you put into it, you know, all the following of the stock and all the risk, you know? For me, it wouldn't be. It's too little. The 50,000 is a too little reward for the amount of work that went into it. So this is the data, again, about Rocket Lab, but you can apply it to any stock. And I hope that this helps you in your retail investing. And my purpose with this channel is to basically follow my investment and help you guys tag along. And I want to share all the data that I learn. And in the near future, I will be drilled into a few companies that I will be super nerd on. And if you happen to follow these companies or, you know, think about investing them, you can listen to my data and make your own choice. And it's very fun, and I really like the community, especially the Rocket Lab community. It's super nice people. And yeah, so may the force be with us. Thank you for watching. Please make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao, ciao.